Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to day 3 of the 44th Mill Valley Film Festival. We're so happy to have you here. I mean, just looking out at your smiling faces after the 20 months that we've gone through is just a blessing.
Wait. Did you say smiling faces? Did you say smiling faces?
I did.
Oh,
Can't you see that
that
they're smiling? I mean, I can tell.
It's an eye thing, right?
It's, empathy. We talk a lot about empathy. We are so delighted, not only that you're here, though we have the premiere of Red Rocket here, directed by Sean Baker. And I'd like to make a couple acknowledgments before we bring up our very special guest. None of this could be possible without the support of individuals, corporations, foundations, and John and Linda Gruber have been supporting us now this theater's been here for 22 years, so over 22 years. They continue to support us through thick and thin during the pandemic. And they have great taste in movies, and they always seem to pick the ones that are gonna, do well.
Take off like a red rocket.
Yeah, so Zoe Elton, our Director of Programming.
Hi, everybody. Oh my gosh, it's so great. I think Mark and I have been longtime fans of Sean Baker's work. Florida Project. He is really, he is really one of America's great original artist filmmakers. So we were thrilled when we got to see Red Rocket, not just because it's Sean Baker, but because a local boy makes good. Simon Rex, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to introduce you to him and welcome him so that we can see the film and then we can talk a little bit more about it. So please, Simon Rex.
Thank you. Thank you, Zoe. Thank you, Mark. This movie was kind of a happy accident. I was sitting around a year ago and, not much was going on. This was a year ago now during the pandemic. There certainly wasn't a lot of work. And I get a call out of the blue that Sean Baker was interested in using me for a movie. So, of course, I jumped at the chance to work with him because I was familiar with his work. And the whole thing was pretty crazy. The budget was very low. We're talking $1 million budget movie during a pandemic. So the whole time we were shooting, I didn't think we were even going to finish making the movie. So the whole thing was just sort of chaotic, and I think that energy comes through on the screen. It's very, it's like a high wire act, and I just went for it. I just got to dive in, and I trusted Sean. I'd seen his work, so I knew how good of a filmmaker he was, so it was really good to just be able to trust that someone who wrote, direct, and edits the movie. That's pretty rare, not too often you get to work with someone who does all three. And so I just want to thank Sean Baker for the opportunity. I'm glad I delivered for him, and just it's cool to be in the Bay Area, in my home, doing this with you guys, and thank you guys so much for the honor. This is just really special, and I hope you guys enjoy the movie. I want to let you know it's okay to laugh. It is a comedy. I know Sean Baker doesn't normally do comedies, but this is a dark comedy, so it's okay to laugh. And I want you guys to have a good time. And I got my family and my friends from high school here, my friends from middle school. And I want to thank my mom because my mom let me be a silly goose and an idiot my whole life. So thank you, Mom, because without that, I wouldn't be here. So thanks, Mom. So my friends, you might have to cover my mom's eyes on a few scenes. So thank you guys very much.
We will be back at the conclusion of the film, and you will see why. This is a spotlight film, and this is an award evening, and you will understand why. So we will see you after the film. Thank you.
And one more, I got to thank A24 and Film Nation as well for everything they've done for this movie. My representation, I got my agent and my publicist here, my whole family. This is just a magical night, so I hope you guys enjoy. Thank you.
As we mentioned, this is a very special program for the 44th Mill Valley Film Festival. It's a spotlight, and it's also a presentation of the Mill Valley Film Festival Award.
And our spotlight programs have been developed as a way of acknowledging a particular time in someone's career. Our tributes look at, the entirety of someone's career, but spotlights give us the opportunity to acknowledge a very special moment. And as I'm sure you'll agree, this is a pretty special moment. And a pretty special moment for Simon Rex. So this is a great time for the Spotlight program.
Why don't we bring Simon up to the stage?
Okay.
Simon.
Simon, this is it.
I get an actual trophy award thing?
You get an actual award, and it's bronze, and it's numbered. It's designed by Alice Corning, an amazing Mill Valley artist, and it's yours with great gratitude.
Oh, thank you.
But we want to embarrass you a little bit first.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Sorry, I'm going to hold off for a minute.
So as Zoe said, this is a very special moment. It's a special moment to us personally, too, because what we've seen through all the many years, decades, that we've been doing this, there are certain special moments when a film comes together with the right director, the right story, and the right actor. And you could be the best actor or any one of those involved, any one of those disciplines, but it takes really this coming together, everything coming together at the right moment. And that's what Zoe and I and our programming staff and all of us involved in the California Film Institute and Mill Valley Film Festival felt when we saw this film, Red Rocket. And we were so excited for Sean, and particularly so excited for you, because this is an unbelievable performance. It is a complex character, and I'm sure a complex performance for anyone to do, an actor to do, to show the nuance of somebody who at times can really, intrinsically, be not the nicest person in the world, perhaps even labeled a sociopath. But on the other hand, you never want to see any harm come to this character. You love this character in this movie, and we loved you in this movie. And more than that, we are just so happy to be able to acknowledge you for this incredible performance. It is so well deserved, and congratulations. And we offer you the Mill Valley Film Festival Award.
Thank you.
I'll give this to you, but you
Can I hold it?
You can hold it.
Oh, it's heavy.
Yes, you can hold it.
It's heavy.
It's heavy.
I haven't got an award or a trophy since 1990 when I got Most Improved Player Basketball, Alameda High. So, I'll take it.
This is your
thank
moment,
you.
may
No,
it be so.
Thank you guys so much. Truly, this is an honor. I don't even know what to say. Except thank you so much for recognizing it. And I just got so lucky I found Sean Baker, or he found me, because there's so many actors out there that never get their shot, and I think that Sean gave it to me, so this is really a testament to him and everyone I worked with on the movie. It was one of those magical things that just happened, and I'm very, very grateful, so thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, and we would love to hear you talk a little bit about your work.
Yeah.
And we're going to invite up to the stage Randy Myers.
Let's go, Randy.
Yay!
Let's go.
Randy is.
Hey, Simon.
Thank you, Mark and Zoe. Thank you. And my mom's
you so
name's
much.
Zoe, too, so there's two
you
Zoe.
kidding?
Yeah, I'm not kidding.
That's great.
Yeah.
So, Randy, welcome. I mean, it's like, I just want to say, okay, there are film critics, there are people who write about film, and then there are people who you trust who write about film. This is that person.
Oh, well, thank you.
Randy,
that's
thank you,
humbling.
and have a great conversation.
Yes.
Thank you, Zoe.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Simon, I just got to say, I've never seen a film in a long time where you were an actor was in every single scene. I've seen this twice. The weight of this was kind of on your shoulders. Was there any time when you were doing this was it like, okay, wait, this is all on me? And I mean, with other actors in there, but that's a lot to carry on.
Yeah, I knew how much. When I read the script, I said, "Whoa, this is a lot." And what I did was I just deleted all my social media off my phone because I didn't want to be distracted. I only had. So how it happened was I was sitting around, like I said before, in Joshua Tree, not knowing what was going on with my career, what was going on in life with the pandemic. It was just a crazy time. And as soon as I got the script, I was like, okay, well, you just dive in the deep end. You really got nothing to lose. Just, go for it. And I really just made it, I just wanted to make him likable because when you read the script, he's just a really bad person. Mm-hmm. And when you read it, you're like, okay, why is the audience going to root for this guy? You're going to lose the audience immediately unless you make him somewhat likable and maybe charming and boyish, and maybe he doesn't know what he's doing. So that was really all I had. There was no time to prepare. Sean said, I need you in Texas in 3 days, and I can't fly you here because we'd have to quarantine you for a week, so you need to drive here. We got a rental car for you right down the street. And I just drove 3 days and just was memorizing the script, and we just went right into it. There's no time to think, which I think has kind of worked in to our advantage, was there was no time to overthink, which in life often overthinking is, could be bad. So it was just all going off instinct and really just using my imagination and playing with it. I'd like to say that I'm some method actor that did some character study and this. I just went with my instinct and played with it. And I got to play in a world like, as you saw, where Sean uses first-time actors. Like most of the people in this movie, he found on the streets of Galveston, Texas, driving around. He cast them right there, and they never acted before. So shooting it on film on 16 millimeter, you don't have a lot of room for error because it's not digital, so you really got to get it. So there was a lot of pressure to get it right, and luckily he just let me play in this world that was very real. I'm used to doing, something in Burbank with a fake set and a bunch of fake actor or real actors who are fake.
That's a great
and
line.
I was just surrounded by these real people that were. It made my job easy when the script is that good and the world was that. It made my job a lot easier.
Well, it seems like it's so organic too. I mean, how much was it that were you able to improvise anything? I mean, it seemed every scene that you see in this film, when you were on the couch talking with your mother-in-law, who was, her story is great, where she came from too. How Sean's picked her out. I'd love for you to address that too. But everything seems so organic. But what was not, or what were you able to bring in? Were you able to improvise? Were there things?
Yeah, he let us improvise. He said in the end it's about 20% of what you saw was improv. But he let us do a lot more than that. But we had to obviously, there had to be, the story kept having to push forward, so if we were improvising too off of topic, it wouldn't work. So, but he was so good at asking the locals, like, what would you say in this situation, and he asked the locals, like, what's the slang for this word, because he wanted it to be authentic. So Sean being very open was great, because I've worked with directors who are very rigid and just do what I say, stand here, say it like this, where not a lot of freedom. So I think Sean giving us the freedom just made it seem so real, and again, the house we shot in was a real drug dealer's house that we rented, and we kicked the drug dealer out for the week, and there'd be people knocking on the door to come get drugs while we're shooting, and we'd have to cut. It was a real drug house. He found Lil, my mother-in-law. He came out of a porta potty, and she was standing right there in front of him, and he just knew right away. He's like, "Oh, you want to be in a movie?" And sometimes she wouldn't show up at work because she was just living her life out there in Texas, and it's funny because they just opened up their hearts and their doors to us. They were so sweet, these people in Texas, that were just so nice. And I became friends with her. I still keep in touch with her. She's maybe in real life someone you might not connect with and spend time with. And by the end, she was just a really sweet person. And she did such a good job for, never having acted before. He really knew how to pull performances out of these. I don't want to say non-actors because they're first-time actors, because now they are actors. So Sean just has a real good gut for finding that, doing that street casting,
Well, with your scenes too, with Strawberry, Sarah, that was one of her first.
Susie, yeah.
Susie, yeah, she was awesome.
So he found her in line at the movie theater. He was in LA, and she was standing in line at the movie theater years ago, and he said, I don't know what he said to his wife, Samantha, who's one of the producers, he said, I don't know what, but we're going to use her for something. And he went up to her and he's like, I know this sounds creepy and weird, but you have a great look and I'd love to use you in a movie someday. So they exchanged information, and 2 years later, he knew she was right for this.
But she was also, from what the production notes were also talking, that he was interested in you for a long time because he followed you on Instagram, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, well, yeah, it's true. He said he followed my whole career since MTV back in the 90s and Scary Movie. And then I did a movie recently with Joseph Kahn called Bodied. It was like a battle rap movie, kind of like an 8 Mile. This was like 3 or 4 years ago. And he said he saw it and he was like, God, someone's got to give Simon his chance at doing some dramatic acting. I don't know why he hasn't worked more. So he just, again, with his gut, I'm so fortunate that he chose me. There was a lot of people that wanted this job, like A-list actors wanted this, and I'm just forever grateful that he decided to go with me, and it worked out.
And he was working on something else at the same time, right? And then because of COVID, he planned, and that came out so quickly, this film, right?
Yeah, he was doing another movie in Vancouver that he had been doing research on for a while. And he was actually living in Vancouver, working in, there's a very high rate of heroin up there. It's like known to be kind of a junkie town. So he basically was living up there for a couple of years, working in clinics and at halfway houses, and actually going out into the streets. And when someone would OD, he would give them the shot, the Narcan. There's a Narcan. He would actually give them the shot, and was working in that world to really, because he's that guy to really go live in that world he wants to do. And then COVID happened, so they couldn't shoot it because it was in Canada. So last minute, one of his producers says, why don't we do this other movie you've been talking about, Red Rocket? And I go, all right, let's just squeeze it in real quick. Let's just go shoot it. And that's how this happened. It was very...
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, and
lucky me.
Yeah. But also, everything's coming for you. There's one line in this movie, I saw this the second time, talking about the universe where everything is starting to happen. And for you right now, that's what's happening with your career. You also have another film here. You just went up and you introduced that too, which is a great film.
My Dead Dad, it's playing.
My Dead Dad, and I hope you see it. It's also very good, and you're great in it as well. But what do you think it is now, in your stage of your career? What is it that's all coming together for you, do you think?
I guess it's that I ate the humble pie, and I've been around long enough to have, maybe when I was younger, I probably had more of an ego, and I just, you get older and you, I don't know, you sort of have more to pull from, I guess. It's like I remember a comedian saying recently, he's like, God, you see these young comics, they're funny, but they don't have any stories to tell because they're 22 years old. And they might be funny, but they don't have anything to pull from. And I think I've just now at 47, I've lived long enough to have more life experience that I can pull from. And, you get older and you just sort of, life gets more serious and real, and I think this movie required some more grounded acting than just like silly comedy. So I just think that and of course shooting it during a pandemic and it was just really, it was a intense time and situation. So I think it just reads, the audience. Everyone that watches this, humans aren't dumb. They can feel when you're faking it. They can tell if someone's bullshitting. And I think I really believed what I was saying and doing.
Totally.
And I think that worked.
Yeah, it shows in his films too. And even the ending here is so great. It's just like Florida Project, where you get the thing where you go, real? What is going? The ambiguous ending. To say what's. So what do you think? What would you like to? What would you like to see happen?
That's a good question. I'm glad, he never talked about this with me before shooting it because it's better to not know. And he likes to leave his movies for the audience to interpret whatever they want. And since Sean and I have been doing press about this, a lot of people ask, like, well, what does it mean? And he just says, well, what does it mean to you? I want you to have your own experience. It's too easy in most of these Hollywood movies where they slap you upside the head with the ending and you don't have anything to think about. And he just wants people to think. And one of his ideas that I didn't think about was that she was just a fantasy, that she was never real.
Yeah.
And it kind of seems like dreamlike and like it's all in my head. Which I'm glad he didn't tell me before, because then I might have played it that way. So I just played it real. But yeah, I don't know, and I think I don't really. I think I like that version of that he said that possibly that it's all in my head. I just think he has delusions of grandeur, and he's just a complete narcissistic sociopath that doesn't know. He's just crazy, which is fun to play.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's great. So, and the one scene where you're running down, right, without your clothes on. How many takes? I was thinking about that the second time. How many takes did you have to go for that?
Well, we had to hide from the police because we were shooting without permits. So this was a very rogue guerrilla filmmaking experience. We were shooting, without permits in these parts of Texas that were pretty dodgy neighborhoods, and it was, risky. And there would be times where, he's like, all right, we're gonna go out at 2 a.m. and we're gonna shoot you running naked down the street. But like, if the cops come, you got to jump in the car and put a robe on, and then we got to. So that happened a couple of times. The cops were like around the corner, and we'd have to run and hide in the car. And it was very stressful shooting, because I could have gone to jail or something. And then there was a time when, you see me smoking weed throughout the movie. That was fake marijuana. Obviously, you can't. But I would have like these joints rolled in my pocket. And there was another time where the cops came up and were like, "What are you guys doing here?" And I had all this weed in my pocket. I'm like, "Am I really gonna go to jail right now for fake weed? Because it looks real." And I'd be like, "No, it's fake weed. I swear." But so. Yeah, the whole thing, again, it was like we were just running on an edge. The whole time making this movie was so stressful. And of course, at any moment, someone could have tested positive for COVID and we would have had to shut the whole thing down. So as a matter of fact, this movie was made and I didn't even really tell anyone until the last day of shooting. I remember calling my agency and saying, "Hey, guess what? I just shot a Sean Baker movie." Like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "Yeah, I didn't want to tell you before." He basically just called me and said, "Simon, I want you in this movie. Do you trust me? Just show up. We'll deal with agents and managers and everything later. I got you. Just show up." And I did, and it worked out. I trusted him.
Good. Yeah, it did work out. It really did work out quite well. So the donut hole is actually real. So was that, because you see the end credits as well, was that in the screenplay at the beginning? Was it a donut from the beginning? And I love the poster, by the way. I hope you look at the poster, everybody. It's a great poster of Simon on that, too.
Yeah,
it's
and a big
poster.
donut.
Yeah.
No, it originally was a food truck in the script, and then he was location scouting in Galveston, Port Arthur, Texas, and he said he was driving by the refineries, and he saw Donut Hole, and he said, "Oh, shit, back up. That's going to be the new the food truck." So originally it was a food truck, then it became Donut Hole, which obviously has a lot of metaphors and euphemisms if you want them to be, and it looked so colorful and fun. And if you remember in Tangerine, there was a donut shop. So he kind of has a lot of things that kind of stay consistent in his movies, yeah.
Yeah, and there was also some other things that were. What I liked was the backdrop of everything. There's so much going on. You have the election, the contentious election, obviously, with Hillary and Trump. You have the background of his film. You see the refinery all the time, and it's like all those things are in the background with these characters, and it's affecting them. Though they don't know it. You know what you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, it's funny because he knows, like, from, obviously, when he went and was looking for a location to shoot this, he was driving all along the Gulf and down to, like, Corpus Christi, Texas, and then he just fell in love with that area. But, he likes to say that, obviously, like, the background and the refineries is a character in the movie, just like the donut shop is, just like in movies, like a car could be a character. So, yes, the dystopian, sort of hopeless, refinery background is definitely part of the tragedy of, these people's lives. And in that area that we were shooting in, there actually was, like, there's a line where Lonnie says, "Bladder cancer, shit's a motherfucker," about his mom dying. Like, that's a real thing. I guess there was a lot of things that happened in those towns around there where people did get cancer from the pollution. So it's just, you hear the alarms. He put that in post. Those sounds weren't really going on there. Kind of like that was all put in post to kind of add to the end of the world kind of feeling of that area. It's just very, it's a beautiful but a sad place.
Mm-hmm. And you are currently working on a movie with
Lucas Gage and Zach Quinto. Yeah, I did a movie called The Down Low with Lucas Gage. You guys, I don't know if you're familiar with Lucas Gage. He's in White Lotus. He's in a bunch of stuff. What else is he in? He's a great actor. He's kind of having a moment right now. He's going to be the next thing. If he was a stock, I would invest in him. He and Zach Quinto, who I'm sure some of you guys are familiar with. So yes, that was another Film Nation movie that we just shot in New York. That's a very funny movie where I play a crackhead homosexual guy who cleans up murder scenes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It was fun.
So how does it feel like right now you have your family here, right?
Yeah.
And you have
They-
your
if they're still here, if
friends.
they haven't left yet.
And so, how, Mom, what did you think? Sorry. There you go. See, that's great.
Good answer, Mom.
Yes. Yeah. See, and
That's exactly right. Yeah, the character's not supposed to be liked. It's
Totally.
anti-heroes. We don't have enough anti-heroes anymore. I
No.
love watching movies. I grew up watching, Taxi Driver, or Bad Lieutenant, or even Eastbound and Down, or Larry David. These you don't like these guys, but there's somehow you're rooting for them a little bit. And you're like, but you don't like them. You feel conflicted, and that was the whole point: is to feel conflicted, so the audience is feeling something. Otherwise, it's just too easy. And that's a complex character that's fun to play.
well, and to dig into that complex of a character, what did you didn't have much time for research.
No.
What were you able to do to draw from? Were you looking at people that you were, did you study some people to say, I'm going to draw this into the character?
So there's an archetype that Sean basically showed me interviews with somebody who this is loosely based on. I can't say the guy's name, but there was a guy. So Sean, again, like he did in Vancouver, he would immerse himself in the world of his movies, and he was for years in Los Angeles in the adult film industry hanging out with these people, and he's like, God, they're all so delusional, and they just think they're gonna make it one day, and they're just so blatantly offensive but yet funny. And so that was the archetype. So he showed me interviews he did with this one guy, and after 10 minutes of watching, I'm like, I got it. I know this. There's plenty of people in Hollywood like this who just think that they're the shit, and they have no self-awareness at all. There's a lot of those people out there, and not just in entertainment. I mean, you could say that, I'm sure that's in politics and Wall Street and every business. There's those types of people, and yeah, that's a real thing.
And you've been really, I refer back to your Instagram account. It's great because you're Simon Rex 415.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a definite love for the Bay
Oh,
Area
yeah.
that you have that,
Yeah, I love the Bay.
shines through. What did you, growing up here, what were some of the things that really led towards you following this path for career?
Good question. And a lot of my friends who are here molded my sense of humor. I grew up, and we all had to make fun of each other. That was basically what we did. And that's a true friend, is when you could make fun of your friends. And I think it's healthy. And I feel like I don't have enough friends down in LA you can do that with. But I love having that relationship where you just roast your friends. And you grew up, that was kind of your survival skill, was being able to snap back at someone making fun of you. And so my friends growing up definitely molded our sense of humor. You had to be quick on your toes, and that was definitely part of it. And I remember going to an Oakland A's game, and the Jumbotron. Is there an A's fan in here? Was that them? And the Jumbotron. I remember me and my friends were in the bleachers, and the camera cut to me and my friends. I was probably 12 years old, 13 years old, and I flipped the camera off, and 30,000 people laughed. And I said, oh, this is magic. But then I never was like, oh, I want to become an entertainer. It wasn't even like that was the impetus for me to become. I just remember that feeling of my head tingling, 30,000 people just laughed. That was magic, So yeah, that was. I'm sure being from the Bay Area definitely molded my personality, and it was a lot to play with even though he's from Texas. I remember at first I had to get a dialogue coach. They were going to have dialect, what would you say? Dialogue? Dialect, thank you. I'm not as smart as I look. And we had a person teaching me the Texas drawl, specifically that part of Texas, Southeast Texas. And then after a few days of me working all day on this dialect coach, Sean goes, no, I don't want you to have an accent. Why are you doing this? Who told you to do this? I want you to have no accent. You lost the accent. So that was liberating, because that's a specific accent that everyone else in the world around me had that I didn't, have to do. So I just was basically playing, a version of myself,
And when you were going through, you talked about COVID and reading some with the filming. You could only have 10 crew on at a
It was
time?
a 10-person crew,
10-person
and
crew, which
that's
is-
nothing. That's insane. So I don't know if, to put that in perspective, that means that the woman Shi Ching who played the donut, Miss Fan, she was also a script supervisor. She was also wardrobe. She was also an actor. She was a producer. So you had all these people wearing different hats. It was like a very small family that Sean uses on purpose. He likes to do a very small core team of people that he works with regularly, so it doesn't get there's something about that process that was really, really fun and guerrilla to work in that situation, because I've done movies where you have a very comfortable trailer and a lot of money and someone's coming out and holding an umbrella over you if it's too sunny out, and you just get all these, you get spoiled. And in this one, like, I would sit in my rental car between scenes with the AC on because it was so hot, and I'm just sitting in a little, Honda Accord with the AC on, and it's better. To me, that made the movie better because you're not too comfortable. You're not, I actually preferred it.
And that brings up the point that in his films, and what he is such a gift, that we see people that we don't see ever in movies. Characters that you don't usually see that are in a major film. We don't see a Texas like this. You see it in a different way, different light. Do you think that that's helping create better understanding where people are coming from?
I hope so. I mean, that's what Sean does so well, is he likes to shine the light on dark subject matter in parts of the country that normally wouldn't get any, attention, and humanize, and you see how these are just people. So I hope so. I mean, it's kind of like being from San Francisco, living in LA and New York, we kind of have this attitude when you fly across the country that it's the flyover states, but then you go there and these are the sweetest people. They're the best people, and you don't have to agree with their politics, you don't have to agree with their religion, but they're actually the nicest, realest people, especially after living in LA for so long. It was very refreshing to go be in Texas with some real motherfuckers. I mean, you saw that, it was real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Simon, that was an incredible performance.
Thank you so much.
One of the best performances I've seen this year by far. And
I really appreciate that.
And a great film. So thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it.
I hope you guys liked it. Thank you.
Yeah. There you go.
Thank you.